Terry Brabant's dream is realised and Velshida sails again. For many years it's hoped, and guarantees to give pleasure to those who sail or see her.
I'm one man who wouldn't be without his dog, but I wouldn't be without the Radio Times either. Go on, Tom, fetch one. This week you can read all about my kind of day, though I'm interested to find out what Tracy Ullman's been up to. And of course, every week, the Radio Times makes sure that you don't miss out on the best of TV and radio. Ah, here he comes now. And like all stars of BBC2's One Man and His Dog, he's full of enthusiasm for his important task. Well done. Radio Times. If it's on, it's in.
On BBC1 now, there's an open invitation to the garden party, while here on 2, in 25 minutes, we make another of our discoveries, today in the ancient flint mines of Grimes Graves, Norfolk. Before which, more recent developments in the countryside are unveiled by John Craven and Country File.
Well, no prizes for guessing where Country File begins today. The White House in Washington, where more than 20 years ago, President Richard Nixon set up America's Green Police Force, the Environmental Protection Agency. And now John Major has announced that he wants to do the same thing in Britain. So we've come to Washington to find out just how successful America's environmental watchdogs have been and what lessons we can learn from them. And also in the programme today, with the summer holidays upon us, the village school children of Britain who've got nowhere to play. But first, here's News Update.
The Environment Secretary Michael Heseltine has reaffirmed the government's determination to protect vital wildlife habitats by creating nature reserves and sites of special scientific interest. He told delegates to a Greener Britain conference, "I want to emphasise that there has been no diminution of our commitment to this enormously successful means of preserving our natural heritage."
The League Against Cruel Sports is calling on the government to abolish falconry. In a new report, it claims the Department of the Environment has been issuing licenses to falconers, allowing them to use their birds to kill thousands of protected species, including skylarks, meadow pipits, fieldfares and redwings. They also argue that it's cruel to keep birds of prey in captivity. However, the Department of the Environment say that falconry is a legitimate form of hunting. Our license scheme is an effective deterrent against the wholesale exploitation of birds of prey.
European agriculture ministers have failed to agree on a plan put forward by the Commissioner Ray McSharry to reform the Common Agricultural Policy. They felt the proposed cuts would be destructive to farming and that the community wouldn't be able to afford the suggested compensation measures. These include a package to encourage farmers aged 55 and over to retire and payments to take land out of production in an attempt to reduce food surpluses. Unless ministers come up with a more practical solution by the end of the year, Mr McSharry has promised severe price cuts in next year's negotiations without compensation to farmers.
New regulations have come into force which replace the National Farmers Union's code on straw burning. Farmers who don't obey the new rules face fines of up to £2,000. The Ministry of Agriculture is issuing advice on how to burn stubble safely and has published a leaflet reminding farmers that this practice will be banned after next year's harvest, encouraging them to practice other disposal methods.
Chesapeake Bay is one of America's favourite beauty spots. Yet all is not well here. This huge estuary is heavily polluted by cities like Philadelphia and Baltimore, and by the nation's capital, Washington, which is only half an hour away, and by nitrates and slurry leaching from the thousands and thousands of farms in the area, and by the chemicals which are used to keep green the immaculate lawns of suburban America. Cleaning up Chesapeake Bay is one of the biggest and longest running projects ever undertaken by the Environmental Protection Agency, America's so-called Green Police Force, an agency closely being watched by our government as it forms plans to set up a similar agency in Britain. 2 weeks ago, when he opened an environmental exhibition in London, Prime Minister John Major revealed that he wants to merge the National Rivers Authority and the Pollution Inspectorate into one powerful body. Other political parties will also have plans for tougher environmental protection in their election manifestos. The Rivers Authority, now 2 years old, has surprised many sceptics. Industry shuddered when Shell was fined £1 million for polluting the River Mersey. And the Pollution Inspectorate can send bosses to jail for up to 2 years.
It is right, I believe, that the integrity and indivisibility of the environment should now be reflected in a unified agency. And I am confident that this will be a significant step forward.
The government intends to seek advice from many quarters before working out the final format, but groups like Friends of the Earth have already decided what they want.
We believe that the new authority should be politically independent, freestanding, protected from meddling by ministers, insulated from the power of vested interests. Because unless the new authority has the confidence of the public, it will have no certain future. Because if the authority is strong and independent and the public support it, it will then get the resources it needs to do its job and protect the environment.
Independent is what the American Environmental Protection Agency certainly isn't. From its headquarters in Washington, the EPA, as everyone calls it, is an arm of the government responsible to the president.